What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at a title called Mirthwood. And this is one of those games that I've been following and waiting for to arrive for probably the last 3 or 4 years or so. So today should be a pretty exciting day where we finally get hands-on with a game that previously we've only really played a demo of. So, if after watching this video you wanted to get the game for yourself, I've got a link for you down below in the description. You can check that out there. On top of that, you can also find a link to my Discord and my Twitch stream. But let's dive straight on into Mirthwood. What exactly is Mirthwood? Mirthwood is kind of an interesting matchup where it's basically Stardew Valley, but if Stardew Valley had the theming and sort of the atmosphere and the ambience of something like The Witcher or something like Kingdom Come Deliverance, it's a game where you are a refugee from another country. At the beginning of the game, there's a little bit of exposition that explains how the hell you got here, but you've landed on foreign shores hoping to start a new life after your noble family was wiped out at your previous home. You are gifted the deed to a parcel of land from a mysterious stranger that wears a mask, and then from there you're cut loose to explore the hinterland and just kind of get around, solve quests, involve yourself in narratives, craft items, grow crops, make money, and all that other kind of fun stuff. Today we're going to take a look at the game for about 30 minutes and see if it's something you wanted to add to your wish list or otherwise pass on. These are my first impressions of the game now, having played the game for about, I would say, 3 hours or so. And so let's dive straight on into it. What am I up to right now? What am I attempting to accomplish inside the confines of the game? Well, I need to get iron. Preacher's vestments, huh? I found this church earlier, but I didn't have any inventory space left to pick anything up or make anything happen, so I couldn't really figure out what's going on. There are no gods or goddesses here. These lands are forsaken. Well, that's encouraging. Fantastic. It sounds like I'm going to have a wonderful life in this new territory. But what I'm up to right now is I'm trying to farm out a whole bunch of copper and a whole bunch of iron so that I can craft myself new tools. From what I've seen so far in the couple hours that I've played the game, this is one of those turn your brain off and farm stuff type of games where there is a grind here that you're going to be involved with, but honestly there's been so much exploration and so many side paths that I can get off onto and so many quests and things that I've found along the way that it hasn't really felt like a grind thus far. Oh, look at that. We've got our first enemy combatant. Alright, let's see if we can get him here. I've only got a copper sword in front of me, so I don't really have anything too wild and crazy to square off with right now. So we'll see if we can bust this guy up a little bit. Is he going to dodge me right there? Hopefully not. Let's give him a few more. We'll dodge back, try to keep ourselves safe. Get him right there. The game's combat system, I would say, is probably the weakest portion of the game, in my opinion. The combat in this game is very, very simple. Doesn't really take a whole lot of getting used to. In fact, I found a surefire method for you to kill just about everything in the entire game. It's called back away from the enemy and then line up a strong strike right when they get to about that distance where you saw right there. This guy is this game's equivalent of something like a drowner. They're kind of like these little merman swamp thing critters that hang out in the middle of the swamps. And so there are monsters in this game. You aren't limited to just fighting against humans, although in the early game you will find yourself squaring off against humans much more frequently than anything else. There's also hunting that can be done out here. I do need to get myself some rabbits on the way home, so if we can ace a couple conies out in the woods and bring those home. I've got a bunch of people back in town who are requesting rabbit stew. They've got a hankering, and so I'm going to try to get them the rabbit stew that they desire. Ow. I got bopped. Let me drink a potion real fast. You can fight in melee or you can fight in range. Both of those are valid options for things you can play around with. See if I can get a few hits off right there. Nope, no hits off. Come back over here. Come on, fight me. I'm trying to get some HP on the board right now. There we go. That looks good. Is he going to stay in or is he going to run backwards? He's going to jump backwards. That's okay, though, because that means we can line him up with another one of those bad boys right there. And honestly, I think the game reads your inputs in a really predictable way when you're playing through this title, because I've noticed the second I clicked, they tend to react and dodge if they've already previously taken a hit in like the last 2 or 3 seconds. And so with that predictability right there, you can kind of force the game and bait it on out as well when you're inside the combat in order to get the result that you want. Altogether, I haven't really found the combat to be that difficult, but this game does leave leave you an easy out when it comes to combat as well, because it doesn't seem like most of the combats are mandatory. The game seems to allow you to sprint away, and you seem to be faster than every mob in the game. So if you are finding that you don't find the combat to your liking and you just don't want to do it, you are missing out on crafting materials and areas that you can loot by not fighting, but it doesn't feel to me like you've been forced into combat at any point in the game. You can kind of disengage and do whatever you want whenever you want. Where's this bridge at? Isn't there a bridge over here? I need to find this damn bridge. I don't want to fight this guy right now. There it is. There's a bridge that leads me over into a neighboring territory that should be helpful right here. I wanted to stop by in the area and visit the townsfolk over here, and I wanted to check out their market because the game does have trade. And most of these towns have a market around somewhere, and if you do like a series of market quests, you can actually link these towns together so that they have trade routes, and that way you get paid more for goods you turn in. It increases the scarcity and decreases the scarcity of certain things, makes the towns more successful. However, I haven't really found how I link this place up to trade, so if you wanted to see what the game world looks like, that's the size of the game world as of right now. As far as I can tell, the game is not releasing into early access. It does not have an early access banner on the Steam page, but sometimes they add it after release, but I don't think that this is an early access release. It says it's in version 0.9 right now, 0.9.6 for the build that they gave me along with the press to check out, and so I'm guessing that this is a 1.0 release that's coming on out. This is the size of the game world. It's not absolutely enormous from what I've seen so far, and I don't know if there's going to be transitions that allow you to go to other countries, but thus far, you can kind of get, my house is over here. It took me like probably 5 minutes to walk down here, so that distance is roughly like 3 to 5 minutes of walking. There are horses and mounts and things that you can get later on, but as of right now, I am mucho pobre, and so I haven't been able to afford a horse yet just because they're too expensive. Oh, free trout. Nice, and apparently the townsfolk don't really care. There is a crime and punishment system in this game. You can't just walk around pistol whipping peasants if you want to. Yeah, see right there. I didn't do that on purpose. I thought it would let me look inside the barrel to see what was inside of it before it dinged me with a penalty. But I lost morality right there. There are benefits to being a good person. There's benefits to being a bad person. So it appears to me as though the game doesn't really particularly try to shoehorn you in any direction when it comes to the overall objective morality of your actions and things that you're trying to do. There's a collectible right there. I'll grab that real fast. I was hoping that I would come across more iron while I was in the neighborhood. More silt striders, huh? Alright, well that guy's gonna jump in and help, which will probably make this go a little smoother in all fairness. I don't know if I get the credit for that kill or if he gets it. What's up with you, man? Hail, stranger, Wolf's the name. Given by my father, who was also named Wolf, as was his father for him, father for him, father for him, was named John. Say, you look like the type of help a poor peasant in need. What's the trouble? I got into a bit of debt with Oscar over in Bright Oak, gambling and all. I just need something simple, like a ruby. That would clear my debt to be sure. You don't happen to have a spare one, would you? I can take a look and see if I can find you a ruby. And the game does have a very nice UI. You get these nice filigreed medieval pop-ups with art to go along with them when you engage in quests or when you complete things or when you're reading exposition. The game does incorporate survival mechanics as well, so I do need to feed my character from time to time in order to keep him happy. So we'll eat a little bit of bread and an apple right there, and hopefully that'll keep us rocking. But remember Splattercat's rule of life: never eat more than 3 apples in one day, because that will resoundingly give you diarrhea. At least if your gutty bits work the same way that mine do, alright? If you want the bubble guts, eat too many apples. That's a lesson that I've learned the hard way in my... Oh my god, there's so many bandits over here. I don't think that I want to play that game with those bandits, but there's likely a camp over there on that side that would have some... Oh, there's a rabbit. I need one of those. Let me see if I can get this rabbit. He's right there. I don't know if I can hit that shot right there, and he is aware of me, which is going to make this difficult. Let me see if I can run him down, maybe. Oh, I got him. Nice. Okay, let's harvest him real quick. I got the rabbit meat. I need 2 rabbit meats for a thing in town. There's a work order where people want me to deliver a batch of rabbit stew for the township. And so if I do that, I think the town gets more successful and more happy. We got a wanderer over here. All right, bad guy over on this side too. For the combat system being as simple as it is, the game does weirdly have a lot of combat inside of it. When I first got into combat at the beginning of the game, I sort of just assumed that combat was not the focus of the title. Ah, he blocked me. Okay. All right, he blocked that one too. Oh, my man's keeping his shield up right here. Maybe I can whittle him with a couple of arrows because he doesn't seem to be covering himself from arrows right now. I've discovered a new map. Unfortunately, my arrow is made out of like shit twigs and dreams, and so unfortunately, it doesn't really deal that much damage, but I'm hoping that'll reset his combat right there so I can get in with a nice combo right there and maybe take him. Is he going to square up right here? But as I was saying, I was expecting combat to not really be that frequent of an occurrence, given the fact that the combat is honestly the most mediocre part of this game. It's not bad combat, but neither is it good combat, and the game is very combat heavy, with regards to that fact being taken into account. As far as how combat works, you've got a parry, you've got a dodge right there, you've got a heavy combo, and you've got a light combo. And that's about as far into it as I've gotten, but the enemies seem to, like I said, read your inputs. And so frequently lining up for like crazy combos or anything else like that don't really seem to work out for me. It's mostly backpedal, hit the enemy once, backpedal, hit the enemy once, so on and so forth. There is a perfect parry system in play, but a lot of the enemies' attacks don't really have like a read to them. You can sort of figure out the pattern with some of the types of enemies, which will allow you to line up parries, but they tend to dodge away after the first time you hit them when you get the parry stun. So, frankly, it's just easier to back up, hit them once, back up, hit them once, back up, hit them once. Let's head back home because it's almost nighttime now, and I'll see if I can get a rabbit or a deer or a couple of other critters on the way back home because we've still got decent energy. I'm going to pick up that copper right there because I can make trade goods out of it. I think I hear a silt strider over there, and I don't really want to fight him, so I'm going to cut north. Dithering, you can't really see in foresty areas because you do get like the vague outline of your character, but the trees don't dither enough. What I would prefer is that it actually creates sort of like a faded circle around your character where you have complete vision when you're walking behind something that's in the foreground within respect to your character, but that doesn't appear to exist as of right now, so you know, it just kind of is what it is. I'm going to see if I can bop this dude up a little bit. He's got dodges going for him right now. Oh, he's just walking into it right now. He's just soaking it. Oh, man. Easiest bandit kill of my life. In a hard-run race, brother, you were the worst bandit that I've ever faced. We've got a jacket helmet right there. Okay. I don't know if that's just in for Halloween or for the beginning of the game. I've gotten a whole bunch of them, so I don't know if that's just a thing that's in, like, the press build to be kind of, like, filled with the spirit of Halloween since we just went past Halloween. But I've been picking up lots of Halloween outfits while I've been running. Oh, there's another rabbit right there. I need him bad. Looks like he's stuck, too. Oh, dude, because he was stuck, the wall was eating his arrows. Is he in that corner right there? I'll be honest with you, he's bugged out and he's not taking damage. Yeah, it looks like this wall has a clipping plane that's like misaligned and he was stuck inside of it, so neither can I loot him. So I got a free rabbit kill, but I'm not going to be able to benefit from it, which is a little bit of a downer, but that's the way life goes. That was actually the first bug that I've seen so far. There's a mine over here. Where's that mine at? So there's a mine along that road right there. Unfortunately, I can't really leave multiple markers around. I do wish that you could actually leave permanent markers on the map because I keep finding stuff like that, but it's nighttime, so I can't see, or I don't have a light source, or my inventory's full, and then I don't get to capitalize on the fact that I found something while free roaming. And so that is one admission that I think they should make to the game, is that the player should have a selection of 7 or 8 icons, like caves, crossed swords, gravestones, stuff like that, that you can pencil onto the map in order to keep track of where... Can I shoot birds? I have questions. It doesn't look like I can shoot birds, unfortunately. Was hoping I could shoot a bird, but alas, no bird from me. We did get a deer, though, which is pretty rad, but I'm full up. The inventory in this system, in this game, is pretty confining, but it looks like you unlock more inventory slots once you get to, like, a certain level of skills or something like that. I haven't figured out which skill allows you to carry more stuff. If you're wondering how the RPG mechanics work in this game, everything functions the exact same way as in a Bethesda game, and they're divided into 6 categories: melee, archery, farming, trades, charisma, and survival. You work these trees down right here, and every time you level up, you're going to get access to more damage or more crop grow rate or being better at gaining friendship with townsfolk. And when you get to these right here, they give you cards. And cards, you have 5 slots for your cards. Your cards, like, markedly increase the efficacy of something your character does. So Excavator gives me a chance to get bonus ore whenever I go out mining. Right now I'm mining, so I have that equipped, but you can swap these out whenever you want. I also have a Lumberjack card that I could play around with right here if I wanted to put it in. I don't know how these unlock, but I'm guessing they unlock as your character gets more good at just a universal level, because if I go to my inventory, it says that I'm a middling adventurer right now, and so I need to pick up that venison right there. So I'm going to eat 2 breads and then pick up the venison so that I can get it out there, but our inventory's pretty bogged down at the moment. Oh, and there's more loot too. That's the worst part. Cow cheese and an apple. Anything good in here? Some trousers and a shirt. I do need new pants. My pants kind of suck. Yeah, I'll put those pants on. Your character does reflect the equipment that you're wearing. Right now I've got a gambeson, which for any of you that don't really know medieval times stuff, gambeson is like a thick padded jacket that's meant to maybe save you from a blunt weapon, but you're probably going to get stabbed up pretty good if anybody comes at you with a bladed weapon. And so I'm a little bit armored right now from the road, but not really completely totally. I haven't found the key that goes to that grate right there yet. Hey, got him right in the beehole, dude. Perfect. I'll take the deer pelt because they're worth a bunch of money, and things in this game are quite expensive. The game does have lots of little effects around the map that you can run across. So, for example, at nighttime, if you go around ponds, there's kind of like a fog above the pond denoting that the air temperature has dropped too fast and the water is too warm, so it's steaming a little bit. The game is actually quite beautiful by comparison to most of the other RPGs out there. It's got a very delicious, very delightful art style that I think is positively a pleasure to drink in with your eyes. However, oh, I missed him by that much, dude. These rabbits are so much harder to get than a lot of the other animals. Did I get him? Oh, I got him. Nice, dude. Okay, I need this rabbit. He's got another rabbit meat, so I should be good once we get home. But as I said, the game is beautiful. It's very nice to drink in with the eyes. It's clear that the art team just went haywire with this game and threw every single batch of skill that they had at it. The environment is both 2D and 3D, so all of the sprites in this game are 2D. However, the background is actually 3D. There's hills, there's actual mounds that can be kind of hard to see sometimes when you're trying to shoot over them. But let me get back home and sleep, and we'll get some daylight for you because it's kind of dark in here right now. But there's an example of kind of how I suppose the landscape in this game is very diversified, and there's lots of different things to explore. I gotta water my crops before I sleep. There we go. And then I'm gonna queue up some more iron bars inside of my forge because I needs them. Damn, I almost stayed up all night, but at least we've got a nice, pleasant, sunny day now so that you can see the coloration and kind of how pretty the game is. I'm going to hang up another picture right there. I've been collecting them from all over the game to decorate my house, but I haven't really found any furniture blueprints or anything yet that allow me to do anything with it. So I'll go with an iron bar right there, and then we'll go with a copper bar right there. There is limited crafting from your inventory in this game, in case you were wondering. However, in order for a crafting bench to draw from your storage, it needs to be like adjacent to it. So the radius is probably about that big that I'm making on my well, it's probably about that big because my anvil hits it. So keep that in mind as you're going through the game. My crops are not ready to be harvested yet. For right now, I've mostly been making potatoes and peas. But let's get those 2 rabbit stews up and running for the townsfolk, so that we can fulfill that order. And let's go back to town real fast because I'd like to take a look around and see if there's any other activities that I can do up in there. So back in town, there was a couple things that I wanted to check on. I wanted to go to the market, and I wanted to fulfill these orders for rabbit stew because that'll make me friends with some of the townsfolk. There are goods in demand, but we don't have any goods requisitions up just yet, but I think I can go over here and get some quests. So there's a missing man. And what's the other quest? Let's have that pop up real quick. The Bandit blockades. Okay, so Bandit blockades. We've got to clear blockades, and if we do that, the town will become more successful, and thus we will likely get more work orders for things they're ordering from our workshops back over there. And then there's also a carter who's been missing. Okay, let's track this bandit blockade one right here, and it looks like there's a whole bunch of bandit blockades right where you get into the plains, and so that's going to be a little bit of a run on. We have to get over there to make this happen. Unfortunately, I do need to sell some stuff from my inventory though and make some money because I've got a lot of things laying around. That's my copper sword, so I don't want to sell it, but I'll sell the jacket helmet. I'll sell the tunic. I'll sell the preacher's vestments. We'll sell all that off. I'll sell my brandy, and I think that kind of leaves us in a good spot for looting and kind of running around the map. We've got a few good spots in there for things to be held up. You can talk with all these townsfolk and become friends with them. I don't particularly know what the benefits of that decision might be because everybody in town doesn't really seem to like me. I've tried to chat them up. They've got like a little mini game you can play with these guys, so you can like greet them, and then from there you can also talk to them, and there's like a little card game you can play just to get to know people or whatever and like make small talk. But it usually ends up pretty poorly for me, and so I haven't really been doing it altogether that much because people don't seem to like me. I don't know. I get the feeling that I'm kind of socially off-putting. Oh well, what are you gonna do? I've got a sword, so it doesn't really matter that I'm socially off-putting because I can be off-putting to you being alive if you give me any lip, you know what I mean? So you take the good, you take the bad, you take it all, and there you have. There are little activities to do around. You can harvest honey from beehives. You'll occasionally find these rune stones down here, and these rune stones, they've got a bunch of runes on them, and hidden inside this biome, there will be a number of stones that have those symbols on them, and if you find them all, something happens, but I haven't been able to find them all just yet. So there are kind of like little hunt and peck, I guess, Banjo-Kazooie activities that are hidden throughout the landscape as well, just in case you're into that. I mean, it's free melee XP, I guess. There we go. I don't know how close I am to Melee 3, but I would like to be Melee 3. You don't really have an XP meter or anything to figure out when you're going to level up, at least none that I've been able to suss out. I would recommend that they add a bar up here on each of these, like a filigreed yellow bar that fills up as you level up and do your thing. Rabbit. Got him. I like the archery in this game because it's kind of like a quick time event almost. Like, not only do you have to aim at the animal, you've got to kind of time it too because the parabola of the attack that you're doing, it expands and it becomes more shallow. Oh, is that the bandit blockade they were talking about right there? All right. We'll feather him up a little bit by backing up on him. I'm going to get my sword out, though. And we'll see what we can accomplish here. He's just dodging out of the way, chain dodging. Okay. Hitboxes can be a little wonky in this game sometimes. The game can be a little over-generous with hits, I guess, is another thing that you'll notice. And so really, like in a field of things that are done really well for this game, it's pretty much just the combat that's mediocre. That's about it. But if that doesn't bother you too much and you can sort of deal with the mediocre combat, the rest of the game seems to be very well appointed. I found with these bandits right here, if you just keep up the pressure and just keep swinging, you will rock the jaw off of them with heavy blows, and so I just keep swinging heavy blows. Oh, you got me. There we go. Get him down. Is that one of the blockades right there? Got lavender on him. I can use that to make healing potions. I don't know if this is one of the blockades, but we got a bread chunk. Is there anything else inside of here that's useful? An onion. I can cook that up into something. An aloe leaf and an onion. Okay. I don't know what she is, so I'm going to leave her alone. I don't know how nasty and tough she is. She might be something a little bit too beefy for me. Charcoal. Okay, I've just been selling charcoal. I've got like a full stockpile of it back at my base, but I've mostly been selling it. So it says the bandit blockades are around here somewhere. Let me have a little look-see around and see if I can track one of them down. Well, I didn't find a bandit, but I did find a boar that's trying to murder me. So that's something. I don't know how much I want to beef with this guy. I don't know how tough he is. I'm not really dealing much damage with my bow, though. So we may want to give the... Oh, he hits hard. Okay, that's what we learned here today, is that boars are not to be trifled with. Come on. You want some? I'll give it to you, pig. I'll give it to you. We can do that right this second. I'll take all of it. And I found somebody's house over here. It says she's an apothecary. Does she want to, like, buy anything, or is she missing? Well, unfortunately, I walked the roads down there in the plains, and I didn't see any bandit blockades. So I'm guessing that the bandit blockades are... What's going on over here? Can I mine that? It looks like it's in the back of the cart, but I could always use more copper. I can make copper swords out of copper, and I can make like 30 bucks a piece for each one. And so that's been one of my go-to crafts right now to make money, is I just gather copper while I'm around in the forest. Oh, I didn't get blessed. I did get 5 morality, though, to cancel out my evil deeds, like accidentally opening up a barrel to see what was inside of it, so that's good. So back home now, there's not really a whole lot for me to craft. So I'm just going to store everything up that I've got inside my inventory right now, and then tomorrow I think we're going to dive down into a cave and see what the cave has for us, because my curiosity has been piqued about the cave. Like, I kind of want to know. We got lucky, and it's still raining today, so I don't need to do anything with my crops in order to get that all set up. So we're in good shape there. I've got 9 iron bars. I need like 70 iron bars to upgrade all my equipment up to iron quality. I also need to go to all the shops and stores, and I need to start buying out all their recipes so that I can learn how to do stuff. But first things first, I guess I've got the stuff for a well, I've almost got the stuff for a tanning rack. I guess I could start making preserves barrels and casks for making beer and stuff like that too. Might not be a terrible idea. There are a number of things you start out with. There is husbandry in this game. You can have cows, you can have chickens. I found the store that sells them all. But what I'm interested in is deep down cave diving dwarf adventures. So let's go do that first. Oh, unfortunately, there's a bandit on the way over there too that absolutely, positively wants the smoke. So let's just go ahead and light him up real quick, because it looks like he's got a bunch of goodies in his camp. There we go. Get him out of the way. I know I cleared this camp earlier, but it's possible. Yeah, in fact, it looks like the loot respawns on the map, so that's kind of interesting too. Either that or I just failed to loot that the last time I was over here. Here's this big pile. I see coins laying over here. Can I loot that big pile right there? No. Fair enough. I didn't want your loot anyways. Your loot is stupid. It's dead to me. Alright, we're back at our cave right now. Let's get down in here and see what kind of mayhem we can unleash on this place. It's a little bit dark, but it looks like we only have, like, rats to contend with, so it should be okay. Well, there might be something bigger in here. It's kind of hard to tell. Can I mine that? I'm not strong enough to mine that. I'm guessing that's rubies, which was... Oh, my God, there's a werewolf in here. Okay, a werewolf, a right there wolf. An all up in my business wolf. All right, kill off his little buddies first. Let me take appraisal of how many potions I have left. I have 2 health potions left. Was there a path that went down right here, or does that just lead out? Okay. So the werewolf is the thing that we've got to contend with for the moment. I got a feeling he's going to be kind of damage soaky, though. Is he damage soaky? Not as damage soaky as I thought he would be. And frankly, everything in the game is hugely kiteable with range attacks. I suppose I'd have to see how hard he hits me. Okay, let's do this from the shoulder then. Okay, so he's got a pretty long lunge back. We got a nice opener on him, though. We gotta wait for him to get a little closer, I guess. But I am a little worried about his attack, whatever it might be. I would love to corner trap this guy and just spam attacks till he falls down, but I've got a sneaking suspicion the game's not going to let me get away with it. What are you trying to do, buddy? What are you trying to do? There's one. There's a couple hits. He's back at ranged. Oh, God. Yeah, I just don't know if I want to be near this guy. I don't know what happens when you die. I assume you just resurrect back in town. I haven't saved in like 4 hours, so hopefully the game's got an autosave that works at night. If you're having trouble hitting the enemies, the hitboxes are weighted towards the bottom of the character, and so you can get around that by fighting vertically a lot of the time and shooting directly at them. And then from the side, you kind of want to shoot at their legs. I've almost got him corner trapped. Like, if I can keep him... Oh, dude. Come on, we've almost got him, dude. We've almost got him. It depends if he goes for the big hit or not. All right, we got the werewolf right there. Did he drop anything good? Some silver ore and a health potion. I will drink the health potion right now. Let's have a look through some of these goodies over here, because I figure an enemy that tough that required that much doing to get rid of probably is hiding something good. He's got one of those collectible currencies right there, those fabled feathers. It says on their description that they're to be given to a certain merchant for specific services, but I have, as of yet, not found that guy. And so it looks like this cave was mostly just a place for the werewolf to hang out, and then it looks like there's just a ruby node inside of here that you can get after, which would solve our quest with that other guy that got himself into debt that wanted a gemstone to get out of it. So at least we know where that's at now. And we got ourselves a little bit of melee XP as well. And so my closing thoughts about this game, having played for around 3 to 4 hours as of the finishing of this recording, adding that time on in, is that this is a remarkably beautiful, well put together open world Stardew Valley dark fantasy medieval RPG, so long as you're okay with a couple of things that twisted my titties the wrong way. So the combat system, it's not very good for how heavy the combat is in this game. You're going to be fighting a lot, you're going to be beefing with lots of enemies, and the combat system is just not very good or engaging. You can get through most of it by spamming heavy blows, and that's about it. And then from there, the game does have considerable chugging every now and again. I'm on a 4080 top-of-the-line hardware right now because my job necessitates that I have that stuff for streaming, because it's very, very overhead heavy in order to stream and encode. And so I'm on very good hardware, and there it is right there. You kind of hear what the sound did right there where it repeated. When you're transitioning in between chunks on the map, and also when you open up the map itself, I have found that the game does like to chug out pretty hardcore along the way. And so that's one of those things that's going to need to be optimized on the game's end. But aside from that, I haven't really run into too many bugs, except for occasionally mobs will get stuck on rocks or on trees or something that their pathfinding can't find a way to get around. Not that big of a deal, and it doesn't happen that frequently, but it does happen from time to time, and it's something to keep an eye on just in case that's the kind of thing that irks you. But exploration seems to be done reasonably well here, and at the end of the day, it's a game about running a medieval fantasy workshop / farm, filling in people's work orders, facilitating trade lanes and things of that nature, working on work orders and getting that kind of work done in order to make more cash so that you can buy more recipes and make more sophisticated things. There are hidden recipes on the map that you will run into from time to time. I found a magical sylvan woodland sword recipe that requires a ton of goodies in order to put it together, but it's got 3 or 4 times the attack power of every other sword that I've seen in the game so far, and so I've been kind of struggle bussing my way towards getting that while also taking care of my quests and running down the narrative and the storyline, of which there is plenty. The storyline seems to be well written. It's interesting. It's got me interested in it right now. In fact, I need to get back on the main storyline quest and start working on it again. But if you're looking for a Stardew Valley style game like Ellen or anything like the myriad of other offerings that are out there inside the realm of gaming right now, what this brings to the table is a different, more grounded, Witcher-style dark fantasy setting in which to play a Stardew Valley game, while also adding a few other bumps and hooks and knobs to play around with, so long as you're fine with the fact that the combat isn't really altogether that interesting or engaging. The game more than makes up for it with narrative and exploration, and so it just kind of depends how heavily you care about the game having good combat before you dive on into it, because I found the combat to mostly just be good enough but not great. And so I will see you all later. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so that you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we were fooling around with a title that I've been waiting for a good long while, called Mirthwood. Tomorrow we'll be playing around with something else. I appreciate you spending your time with me, and that's about all I got for you, folks. Take care.